Hi, I'm Beth Reese. I'm your host of The Oh Amazing Way. Thanks for joining us on our episode today. And I am so over the moon grateful to have with me my dear friend, colleague, some days badass coach, Justine Fanarof. Hi, Justine. How's it going?
Hi, Beth. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, awesome. So look, what I really want to do is such a great practice. Let's all, me, you, Justine, people listening, people watching, let's just take a moment and start with 3 breaths and get really grounded to this conversation right here, right now. So I just invite everyone to find a comfortable sitting position. If you are somewhere where you can close your eyes, great. If you're driving, not a good choice. Keep them open. And let's just sort of soften into our seat, and we're just going to take 3 breaths. So go ahead and breathe in. Breathe out with an ah, if that feels right for you. If you want to breathe in through your nose, it's a great natural filter. One more time. Hi.
Hi.
You know, that really is such a great practice to come into the present. And we're going to hear more about some of Justine's favorite practices for being mindful, being present in the moment with compassion and without judgment. Today on our show, we have Justine is going to share with us her sheroe journey about what transpired, like that one story that stands out in her mind about what had her choose to start to really generate or curate her life, her choices in a really intentional and for her a yogic way, choosing to draw on and resource some ancient traditions so that her life is meaningful and intentional every day. Yeah. And we're going to get to learn 1 or 2 of her favorite practices and then hear what she's up to today in the world, making a difference here in Houston and beyond. Yeah. So one of the ways I know Justine as really this just amazing human being is I met her when she led a yoga class out at a retreat center near Houston called Elm Flats. Our dear friend Jennifer Plesner and her family have that. And in this class, there were over 50 people there. And what I got in that moment was her listening, her way of being just dropped in that moment, present to our energy, to the space around us, just to everything. And then in my conversations with her, I see that listening show up time and time again. And so that is part of why I knew I wanted to have Justine here with us today. So Justine Fanarof, and in a minute we're going to hear about your amazing last name. So cool. And Justine is a lawyer. She has her doctor of jurisprudence, if I could speak well, that'd be helpful, a master's in public health, and she has what's called her E500 RYT. That means she is an experienced yoga teacher who has studied over 500 hours and taught over 1,000 hours. So just really experienced. So Justine is a holistic lawyer and entrepreneur and uses her legal, public health, communications, meditation, yoga, and mindfulness skills to resolve conflict and support other entrepreneurs in creating, manifesting, nourishing, and adapting their dreams and realities. And I can attest to that. She does that. Justine has been practicing yoga since at least 1998 and started teaching in 2004. She loves creating sacred spaces of practice and inquiry for students of all ages and abilities. She's the creatrix of a program called Yogi, Know Thyself. It's a seasonal and ongoing exploration of svadhyaya, and that is a kind of yoga practice that really invites us and encourages us to practice self-study. And she does that in sourced experiential places and spaces of personal practice, self-care, and inquiry. And so, Justine Fanarof, what is this Fanarof? What does it mean? Because I think it really defines kind of who you are, at least for me.
Well, I think it's such a nice question. And I'll tell you something. I am Justine Kerri Fanarof, and I was born in South Africa. And I did not have a middle name until we became naturalized when I was in third grade. I was 8 years old. And I don't know if I chose Kerri, Kerri, or if my parents chose it and gave it to me, but it came in, and I really like the JKF. I feel a little bit of a kinship towards JFK, an amazing leader. And so Fanarof, it's a Ukrainian name. My family is Jewish. I was born in South Africa, and my parents were born in South Africa. My grandparents were from Eastern Europe. My maternal grandmother was from England. She was born in Manchester, and my maternal grandfather was born in Coney Island, and then my dad's dad was born in South Africa, and my dad's mom was born in Vilna, which is now Lithuania, when it was part of Poland. So this name, Fanar, is a Ukrainian name, and Fanar is a light, but a light in the sense of a lamp, an old school lamplighter. And you can kind of imagine the old school lamplighter going down the path, the cobblestone path, and lighting the light with a flame, with a fire. And so Fanar is this lamp, and the off is son of. I should be Fanarovia because I am I identify as a female, and so Fanarovia would be the female, but I'm Fanarof, so son of light.
And yeah, I get chills every time you tell that story, because it's, who you, and I really think it's who you have become, and part of what you generate is being a light for other human beings. And
thank you, Beth.
Yeah, and how, when you think about like one of those stories, like on your sheroe journey to who you are today, like what comes up for you as like a moment when maybe you really like just went, I'm going to be that light?
Yeah. So I think sometimes it's easier to light the light for others than it is to light the light for ourselves. And what I've been unpacking for myself since I started my yoga practice in around 1998, and then I practiced until around 2004. I had the honor to live in Santa Monica and get grounded in a very specific yoga lineage while I was in Santa Monica through the Forest Yoga community, and then in Houston, Texas, through a specific teacher here in Houston, Texas. And I'd been studying yoga for over 10 years when it became quite apparent to me in my personal and professional life that I needed to make some changes. I followed the path in my own way. I went to law school. I did a master's in public health, and parallel to that path, I did my yoga teacher training. So I was figuring out, as one of my friends said to me years ago, maybe you should do Nagoshi yoga. And I was like, well, I don't know what that is, but it sounded, a little seed was planted. And at the time in 2014, I was really immersed in working in the immigration legal services world. And I had come up out of law school. I had been civil rights counsel for the Anti-Defamation League. I had worked in-house for a children's hospital. And then I ended up working for Central American refugee children as their attorney, and mentoring other attorneys in that work as well. I was in a space of personal transformation. My boyfriend and I had broken up. And again, it was one of those cycles that actually just recently ended. And with compassion and with a sense of closure. At that time, it was more challenging. And one of my dear friends was in Costa Rica, and she was at a Krishna Das retreat. She was heading down there, and she said, Justine, come down to Costa Rica, come and share space with me, and it'll be really nice for you. And so I said, yes. Now, the thing is I had lived in Costa Rica after college. This was I first went down there in 1994, and then I spent a significant amount of time there from 1998 to the early 2000s. I was at an Osho retreat in Costa Rica, and the year 2000 and had spent a lot of time enjoying my life in Costa Rica. So Costa Rica is a very familiar place for me. Speaking Spanish is a very comfortable space for me. And so going and practicing with people in Costa Rica made a lot of sense. So I said yes, and I went down, and I got to the retreat one day late. And the retreat was at a place called Blue Spirit. It's where the Omega Institute does their winter retreat. And there's two peninsulas on the Pacific coast of Costa Rica. There's the Nicoya Peninsula in the north, and there's the Osa Peninsula in the south. I've spent a lot of time on both places, but it had been a long time. And because I was a day late to the retreat, I missed a little bit of guidance around stingrays and the way that there was a proliferation of stingrays in the Pacific. And there's a way that you walk where you kind of shuffle your feet. Now, when I had lived in Costa Rica previously, I was literally a fish. I mean, I swam by myself. Actually, thinking back, it was quite risky the way I existed at that time in my early 20s. I would spend hours in the water by myself, and this is water where there's not a lot of people, and there's rivers enter into the sea. So what happens in that water is there's a lot of wildlife, such as ancient reptiles that like to get into that water. But fortunately,
like alligators, right?
Kind of like alligators.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're really clear about what kind of wildlife we're talking about here.
Like you go to a beach and you say, like, what's the name of this beach? And somebody says to you, like, Playa Lagarto. It's like, yeah, you watch out for the big reptiles. So I was just so overjoyed to be in the space with Krishna, to be at the Omega Institute's retreat, to be with my dear friend, Kristen Scheel. And we were in the water, and I love to swim, and kind of went down a hill, got in the water, and was swimming. And I had a presence of my teacher. And this is a teacher that I've had a relationship with, a professional relationship with. I want to be really clear there. A professional relationship with for over a decade, and he has been a very important person in my understanding of yoga practices. And I was able to teach in his studio for many years and have a very sweet space in my heart for him and a lot of respect for him as a teacher on my path. I felt his presence. I jumped up in the water, I jumped down, and I felt myself get stung by something. I didn't know what it was, but I knew I was stung, and it was intense nervous pain it stung me on the bottom of my left foot. And I just reached down to touch the bottom of my left foot, because I think there's significance that it stung me on my left side from a yoga perspective, and from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, from an energetic perspective, also from an allopathic perspective. The heart resides on the left side of the body. And so I said to my friend, Kristen, I was stung by something. I need to get out of the water. We got out of the water, and I said to her, I can't go back up. We were at the bottom. It's a pretty big hill, and it's a steep incline to walk back up to the place. I said, I can't go up. I need you to go get me help. So where I sit now and look at it a little bit with a little bit of objectivity, I was able to say, I need help. I was stung. So I felt like I was present in my experience. And I said, please help. Please help me, which is something that we need to be able to cultivate in an appropriate way when we need help, to be able to ask for it. Kristen said yes. She ran up the hill. And I was sitting in my bathing suit, and I had a mala around my wrist. And this is a mala that I use for a specific mantra. I use it for the mantra to the deity Ganesha. And I will just say, I am a white woman living in the United States of America. So my understanding of the practice of japa is taught to me through the lens of the American experience. I have a very phenomenal mantra teacher named Ian Bossio, based in Atlanta, who I've worked with for many years. And the practices that I've developed really are from the teachings that I've received from him, and also teachings that I've received from other teachers such as Deva Premal. So I'm at a kirtan retreat with Krishna Das in Costa Rica.
Getting stung
by a stingray. Got stung by a stingray. Now the stingray sting is it's intense nervous system toxin. So it's contractions that move through the nervous system. And I had my mala on me, so it's a string of beads. There's 108 beads on it. And I took it off and I started doing my japa practice. So counting basically the mala beads, using a mantra and saying my practice. And I did my practice, and I recited the mantra of Ganesha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And that mantra to me is about removing obstacles, being with reality, and allowing wisdom to come in. And that the power of that practice in that really intense moment. I was by myself. Kristen went to go get help, and I was sitting on the beach, and I had been stung by the stingray, and I did my practice. And so even so much, people came by and said, at one stage, are you okay? And I said, I'm okay. I knew help was coming, and I knew that I had my practice with me, and I did my practice. And so I did my practice. Kristen came down in a golf cart with some of the staff from the retreat center, and they took me back up. And when they took me back up, one of the body workers was there. And I found in retreat space over the years, maybe some of y'all are body workers or have occupied the space of retreat, the people that create the community in a beautiful retreat space have many, 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 many gifts. And I would say loving presence is one of them, and healing touch is another. And so there was a body worker there who sat with me, and we sang together. She sang with me. We sang some mantra, and I soaked my foot in the water to start to pull out the toxin. And the toxin started coming out. But the pain was there, but so was the practice. The pain was there, and the practice was there. Yeah, the practice was there too. So there was a tool, and this is what meditation practice, this is what mantra practice, this is what listening practice, this is what being together, this is relationships, this is the practice.
Yeah, exactly. And I really, so what I'm hearing is that moment really solidified for you that, kind of experience what there is to experience, and life is going to come at you. Things are going to show up, and you have your practice. And whether that is with mala beads and chanting, or taking 3 breaths, whatever that is, we can build our toolbox, right? And this is like, I gotta say, this is like what the Amazing Way is about. It's about filling your toolbox, so in every moment you can make that choice that's really going to make a difference for yourself, others, and the earth. I love that. Well, Justine, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to hear about some practices that you love, and then about how this moment with Krishna Das, Costa Rica, Stingray, your practice, how that has impacted what you're up to right now and beyond. Yeah?
Sounds great, Beth.
All right. We will be right back. Stay with us.